is social emotional learning. It's the process by which students and adults learn those building skills and mindsets that help to make them successful throughout their educational career and then beyond graduation. So skills such as feelings identification, self-management, self-regulation, responsible decision-making, positive relationships, things like that are what we're talking about when we're talking about our social emotional skills. Why of it is, even prior to the pandemic, schools were seeing a huge number of referrals for just social and emotional struggles, emotional distress, anxiety, and depression from their students. And then the pandemic sort of catapulted that into a huge increase across the board. We need something to support our students kindergarten through 12th grade. Ohio saw this as a need starting in 2019. They developed social emotional learning standards pre-K to grade 12. You can find that on the ODE website. And so when you look at that and you look at schools who have implemented social emotional learning in a very strategic and systematic manner, what you're finding is an increase in academic performance, a decrease in emotional distress, a decrease in disruptive behaviors, decrease in substance abuse issues, increase in classroom engagement, and increase in positive relationships that are reported by students. So overall, a wide variety of positive outcomes from social emotional learning.
In addition to big picture benefits, systematic implementation of SEL provides a lot of data-based benefits as well. Probably what speaks to me most is that it provides 11% academic gains when intentionally placed into school systems. It also gives back $11 to each dollar spent. Furthermore, 6 out of the 10 workplace skills wanted by the World Economic Forum are part of the social emotional 5 major competencies. And then if we just talk about kind of the nation, students ages 5 to 11 have shown 24% increase in visits to the emergency rooms for mental health reasons than they did before the pandemic. It's about a 31% increase in visits for students who are ages 12 to 17. So there's a high need of supports.
For SEL to be effective in a school system, it has to be systematic and it has to be strategic. So there is a lot of taking our time to look and consider before just leaping in. We never want to just add one more thing to the plate that's going to be shoved aside later on. So we have been very thoughtful and very intentional with our planning of SEL for this district. As you kind of see behind me, this is our work and what we hope to accomplish over the next few years. And if you kind of focus in here, we start with adult SEL, well really in setting the foundation, looking at our climate and culture, adult SEL, student SEL, community involvement, looking at our continuous improvement planning, and then kind of looking at SEL and is there a connection with EDI and where do those roads kind of cross. So this year we've been very intentional about starting with adult SEL. Just with any other academic subject, reading, writing, science, social studies, we can't ask teachers to teach SEL or do SEL activities until they have a full understanding of what it is and what they're expected to do with that. I would never be able to go into a classroom and teach reading without some instruction on how to do it. So we started with the adults in our building. And really that's twofold. One, do they understand it? What is their competencies? What are their capabilities with social emotional learning? And then two, to figure out if the adults and if the staff in our buildings have taken care of themselves enough to help take care of our students. From there then, we will move on to community involvement, student SEL, and looking at that big picture, but systematically, strategically, because we know in order to be successful, we have to look at that big picture.
Here we are midway through our first year and we've already had a lot of progress. Here's just a list of the things we've already done this year. We've created vision statement for the district. We've created student and staff SEL related goals. We've developed an SEL district team that has at least about 30 to 40% of our staff voluntarily join. We've conducted focus groups with well over 150 staff members. We've educated staff at all of our professional development days before school and after school, and with some PLCs. We've supported relationship building district-wide to enhance the well-being of our staff. We have implemented panorama surveys and analyzed the data. We've created a district-wide website. We'd love you to check it out. We've created monthly newsletters that have a great open rate, so thank you to those of you who have read them. And we are evaluating lots of programs that support our students and trying to see what works and what we need. So we're really excited by what we've accomplished already this year.
Our next steps are going to be continued and ongoing professional development for our staff, beginning to consider as a whole, collectively, what does SEL and what will SEL look like in the classroom. And we're going to explore community outreach activities so that we can begin to engage our families and build partnerships within the community. At this time, I would really encourage you to check out our website, read our newsletters, and reach out to Bridget or myself with any questions, concerns, or comments. We would love to hear from you.